Hey, welcome back. So I have a new video for you today. So today I like to share my thoughts on common mistakes when starting out with street photography. All of the mistakes that I will talk about, I made myself when I was starting out as a new street photographer. All right, let's look into it. Common mistake number 1, gear over knowledge. When starting out, there is so much focus on buying the right camera or buying the right gear instead of focusing on the time invested in learning about photography. I did that also when I was starting out as a completely new photographer back in 2016. I was so focused on buying the most advanced camera, even though I didn't have any basic understanding of camera settings or how to handle a camera. So the time invested in learning about basic camera theory, i.e. exposure triangle and handling your camera from the start is so much more valuable in the long run than buying the most advanced gear. So always prioritize knowledge over gear. Learn your gear. Common mistake number 2 is not really understanding or learning the gear that you already have. So this is something that I also see a lot when I'm out there doing street photography and I talk to other street photographers. So learning about the gear that you have means that you really try to understand the camera and the features and the functionality that it has. And for example, if you have a 55mm lens or a 35mm lens, really try to understand the capabilities and the limitations of that lens. So basically, when you pick that camera up or that lens, you basically know from the get-go what kind of photos you can make. And that knowledge goes a long way because it will build a foundation for you that you can build upon. So basically, if you want to elevate more and you want to enhance your skill set and grow as a street photographer, you can buy new gear that will do that for you. But if your basic foundation is missing, there's cracks in your foundation, it will be very hard for you to evolve and grow as a street photographer. And any gear in the world that is so advanced will not help you do that. Common mistake number 3 is choosing the wrong focal length, and this is an honest mistake when starting out with street photography because you don't have the right understanding of what kind of focal length you might like and you haven't really developed your street style. So choosing a tried and tested focal length might be the way for you. So either choosing the 28mm, the 35mm, or the 50mm, also known as the Nifty 50. All these 3 focal lengths are what we call classic focal lengths in street photography. And especially the 35mm focal length is great when you're starting out with street photography because this focal length is so versatile and easy to use. You can use it for a longer period and really hone your skills. Common mistake number 4 is one-shot mentality, and this is especially true in the age of social media where pictures are posted so rapidly and they are often what we call bangers, which is perfectly fine, but try to, especially when you're out there on the street, to think in themes, try to think in sets, and try to think in series. And what I mean here is that instead of just focusing getting that one shot, it can be an awesome light and shadow photograph that you're trying to make, but try instead to think in terms of a theme or a set. So basically try to show it from different angles. So there's a storytelling aspect in your photograph because it also makes you think and process photography in a different way when you think about how you can put it together as a set. Also, from a viewer's perspective, it might evoke some emotions when they're looking at your photographs as part of a series or a set. Common mistake number 5 is having multiple focus areas instead of just having one. So this is something that I did myself when I was a beginner photographer, that I had multiple focus areas. And if I look back now, I think this was because I had such a hunger for learning and I just wanted to rush through things. And this is important that you only have one focus area because you will not overwhelm yourself if you dedicate your effort and your time in learning that one discipline or aspect of photography that you're trying to learn. So it's very important that you go out and practice as well for that focus areas, and until you nail it and you can recite it in your sleep, then you're ready to move on. But if your photography foundation is not built on basic principles and understanding of your camera or your gear, you will have a hard time evolving and growing as a street photographer. Common mistake number 6 is not practicing enough. I cannot stress the importance of practicing, no matter if you're a beginner or an experienced street photographer. To this day, I still schedule my photo walks and I put it in my calendar. It used to be 2 times a week and now it's more once a month, but I still love going out and sometimes I really miss it. And lately I've been coming home from my photo walks not having any great photos. But what I do now is that I note down my experience and the thoughts that I had while I was walking around. And sometimes I just sit somewhere and just observe people. But the most important thing here is that I do go out no matter if I come home with photographs or I'm inspired or not. So just remember to practice, practice, and practice. These were some of the common mistakes that I've seen and made myself over the years. Maybe you can recognize a few of them. Let me know in the comments. Take care, see you in the next one.